start boxing. The difference between boxing, the traditional style of boxing, and Boxa is first of all the way how we stand. You do Boxa and you stand with your toes pointing in the direction where you hit. A boxer, traditional boxer, is standing in this way when his or her toe are pointing in another direction. They box like that, so they block, in fact, their stance when they are boxed. And then it is a good way of boxing, but the problem is when you're aging, then and that's what I can see with all the people who are my age, all of them has hip problems on that left, or if they're southpaw, they have problems with their right hip, and because of the blocks you get a lot of pressure on that hips, and every time again you stepping, and you block with your hip the movement. This slowly will occur in sore hips, sore muscles, and more. So that's why I choose to point the toes in the direction, and then you don't have that problem. So you keep on doing the same punch, and when you turn you do the same punch, but you don't have that blocking of that hip, and so you don't have the problem of getting a long-term injury. So that is the first thing in boxing that we have to consider. How should we step? So Boxa and traditional boxing has that difference already, right from the bottom, right from the start. The way how we point the feet in the direction, and the reason is long-term training and hip problems. That's the first. What we do is when you punch, you step in. You have to make a difference. A distance. See? If I punch here, I miss. So I hit only the surface. So the distance of the little step is what makes really the difference. So that step, the step is the difference between touching the surface and getting the punch. So it's a little difference, and that is why you have to learn that difference. If you take that difference, that is what we call the distance. Distance is 100%, and then the little step is already making that big difference. So that is the thing. And we do the same, so you see, to the right side. You step in and hit. Step in and hit. Step in and hit. But before we come there, you have to learn how to stand. Again, traditional boxing has many reasons, many ways how they do it. You can do it like this, turn, and then stand. But if you want to change boxing styles all the time, then we have to move. So you have to think that the hip is the most important part. So you have to stand shoulder wide to begin with. But do we move this way, it is one good way, but it is still a little bit too small. See, this is how we stand. If I do it like that in the Boxa, 1, 2, I stand too small. Most boxers stand wider as a boxing stand, especially when they stand like that. So they have to, see, then you can move the legs more. And there is a big difference in the way how we stand in boxing and the way how we stand in Muay Thai. So Muay Thai is standing higher on the legs, and we stand, as a boxer, we stand a little bit lower on the legs. So the difference is high and low. And now when we stand, again, we go back to the basic. You can move 1, 2, but still you have to open up a little bit more the hips, so you don't block your hip while doing the boxing. And that's the important part. As when you see, when I move, hush, hush, hush. Because when I do this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course I do it a little bit exaggerated, but if I do box like that, it's too slow. It's impossible to get a good, fast boxing action. And that is another reason why we have to point the toes in the direction of where we're going to hit. And that implies that the basic stand, 1, 2, little bit further out, is needed to have a sufficient stand in the boxing style. So that is style. Style related stepping. When we step in, step in. If we change, you can change like this, yeah, like stepping by, but the best way of changing is like that, stepping away, stepping away, stepping away, stepping away. See, you change direction, step, change direction, change direction, change direction all the time. You change direction all the time. That is how you move. You move, change the direction, and it can go pretty fast, huh? So this is just about the jab. And when you move, you have to find your own moves. What do you like most? Some people like this the most. But it is slow. But the question is, do we need to do it fast? Yes, when you do competition, yes, for sure. No. There's no way you can be slow in competition, because your opponent will always be faster. So the only thing is that you have to change direction. If you do competition, then you change direction all the time. Yes, 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 yes. See? Then bam, 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 bam. Whoa, bam, 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 bam. That's the way how you do competitions. But if you train on the back, like most of you ever will do, then sometimes you step away and sometimes you just step out. See? And then you step. You take the time to step. Take the time to step. But most of all, feel there is a balance between the front and the back leg. So you can move in between, and that must be the same. Hey, 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 hey. Because the balance point of the whole boxing is exactly in the middle. It's easier to see it when I use something. This is my balance point. So it will be in the middle. Whatever move I make, it stays there in that middle. Bam! And it stays there. See? It stays there. Every time it stays in the middle. Hold it there. Hold it, because that is your balance point. And in other languages, this is called hara line, middle line. Call it whatever you like. But it is important that your whole line is exactly in the middle here, pointed here. And why? Because there you move around that. You move around. And then you keep on moving around that line. Only that line. Nowhere else. So that's the important part of holding your balance around your balance line, your middle line. Okay, so now we get the punch, the jabs. Yes, push, push. So what we do is we give a hook, because now I give a hook, but see how stiff the hook is. When I do the hook here, it's rather stiff. So the stepping stone of the hook is that we have to show the direction. And now you see that the old style of boxing got a little bit reason more why people stand like that. So there is a reason why they stand like that. It is because when they give the hook, they give that direction with their toes. So yes, see, that's the direction of the toes, pointing in the direction of the hook. So it's on itself, the boxing has a logical reason why they stand like that, only they forgot that on the long term, if you do your jabs, and the jabs is the main punch in traditional boxing, if you do your jabs for a too long time, then you get a hip injury. So it has nothing to do with the punches itself, it has everything to do with the development of power and the aging body, both of them. So that's why we will point the direction only less than that. So yes, we point in the direction of the hook, but not that heavy turn in like what they do. Yeah, shish, see? And then you do it the same way. Shish, 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 shish. Again, we can do the boxing style like turning in, but then we are too slow in the switch. So that's why also again we don't move in that feet too much like in the traditional boxing. We keep the feet, the toes pointing in the direction of our point, of our goal, and in this case the back, without moving in a lot. And I said too much, but for a boxer in the competition style, it is understandable and logic to move in more because they can develop more power in it. So keep in mind, many teachers will say to you, this is wrong, this is not good, but there is no not good. It doesn't exist because every body, I mean body, is different. So there is no good or bad in boxing at all. There is a difference in opinion, that's for sure. But opinion is just opinion, and only that. So that is why we move this way, hesh, 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 and see how again you can step this way, and then step, hesh, yeah, hesh, hesh, step, step, hesh, 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 hesh. In movement, it is slower than the traditional boxing because of you do two things at the same time. So competition wise, it sounds like it's not effective enough, but this is not competition. I'm not teaching you to be a competitor, teaching you how to make fun and healthy boxing. So Boxa is health, it's not competition. Yes, I repeat that again and again, because I know a lot of traditional boxers will watch this movie and say, oh, no, this is not, yeah, but you're right. Yeah, but what I said to you before, this is not competition, this is training. And I'm over 60. And I boxed, 55 years now, and I still don't have any hip injury because of boxing. I have, because of aging, some disadvantages. That's true. Yes, I cannot kick any more high, but in case of movement, I have no pain anywhere. So that is the advantage of thinking about how is a style on the long term. Okay,